All right. Hi, everybody. Hi, friends. I'm Rob. This is episode 2 of the Infinite Loop. I have my daughter with me, Eliana, and I thought today would be a good day to touch back on something I said the last episode there about experiencing joy. I think just leaving it as that statement there is it's just not enough, right? So who better to have on here than someone that was there during that moment with me? So I think the first thing I wanted to touch back on was a little bit what I was saying. For it was 2 years. I was working second shift, and it was a good place. Great people I was working with, but I never saw my family, and that was tough. Like every day I wished I could see them, but in my mind, of course, I was doing what was best, because when you're providing, and we all have those times, right, where you just do it. You suck it up, and you do what has to get done because at the time that's what seems right. So we would always have these plans of doing stuff, but because I was working second shift Monday through Friday, by the time you wake up Saturday and Sunday, there you just there was never enough time, right? You always boil it down to time. And it hit our relationship hard, right?
Yeah.
Like I didn't feel like I didn't know who you were, and I don't think you knew who I was, right? Mm-hmm. So this is 2 years of it, and I have that moment where we're sitting down on the couch and we're all having a family movie, and yeah, it was just it was beautiful. I'm looking down and I'm seeing Ellie cuddling with me, and my son Robbie, and my wife, and and then I started getting that feeling in my chest, right, like a pounding, like a heavy pounding. But it had been so long since I experienced that, because my mindset was always on the next thing, right? Like the next task that needed to get done, or it was never in the moment, right? It was never in that moment. I was there, but I wasn't, and of course, I like I said, I felt like I needed to get up and get away, right? Because I had that pain or that pressure, or I call it pain. It wasn't pain, it was pressure. It was something I hadn't felt in a long time. But instead I stayed. And, I sat there, and, a tear came to my eye, like even talking about it now, because it was that moment, right? It was the joy I've been searching for. I always sat there and said, when I had more time, right? When I was off second shift, when I was, I don't know, anything you can think of, right? Because in your head, you can do this stuff. You can rationalize anything. You can make anything sound okay, but it wasn't. Like I wasn't looking at now. I wasn't looking at these moments. I was looking at the idea of when I was at second shift, I would make up for it. Or when I had more time, I would do it then. Or but then you're like, I don't know. I was categorizing it. I was putting it away. I was, everything had a time and a place. Like we'd always talk about going camping, right? Like that would be our big thing. We're gonna go camping or fishing. I said that for 2 years. 2 years I said that. And when I say something, I really stick by it. and it was always work. It was always either work at work or work here, right? Because that needed to be done first. Because that was providing, or that was what was, in my mind, that was what was right all the time, right? It wasn't the idea or the seeing it for what it really is, right? It's the moments where you're so happy that you can't help but smile, right? Like your cheeks hurt, or I don't know, cooking together or baking together, or just enjoying being around each other, like really getting to know each other again, because you forget, or not that you forget, but it's like I don't know.
You don't know that version of the person.
Yeah, I still remembered you from when I started that 2 years ago, and I sat there saying that when I had more time, we'd figure it out, right? But it's the version now. And, I was saying how this all started like 6 months ago for me. And, it was really taking some leaps for me, and it was taking some leaps for our whole family, really. My wife told me that she wanted to homeschool the kids. We'd always talked about it, always had the conversation, or at least for the last couple of years, and we just, the time was never right. It was like everything else in our life at that moment, or how I was at that moment, right? I was putting everything was in the future when the time was right, when I had more time, but in reality, the time is right now. Right now. But getting back to what I was talking about there, we decided, when was that, sweetie? Was that February?
Yep.
February.
The first week of February.
First week of February. That you and your brother and one of Shayna's girlfriends and her 3 daughters were going to go on this journey from Maine down to Florida, and then back up to Rhode Island to kind of see the world, right? Like or see the world, see people, right? Because part of schooling that I feel like is great is that it is the interaction. It's the learning different people. It's the seeing people for who they are, right? Like it's what we do every day. We see people, or and then you see them, you have a quick conversation, then you categorize them, then it's gone. Right? Like we just leave it as that. We categorize them, and then we leave them in that category, and that's that. And at my time, or at that time in my life, that's how I was. So here they are. They're gone for 30 days, and I'm by myself. And I realized I was not fun. Like the first 3 days was great. It was quiet. It was me and the dogs, and I still had to take care of the animals, the chickens and goats and so forth. And but it was quiet, and I had one bowl in the sink and one spoon and one cup. Like it was great for 3 days. I had the TV to myself. I could watch whatever I wanted to watch, but that wasn't fun. Like I wasn't enjoying my time. I was just wasting time. I was wasting time waiting for them to get back. right? Like waiting for their joy to bring my joy, right? Because now that I experienced it, and I experienced it in that manner through being with them, I was searching for it again, but that was the only way I knew to get it, right? So for 30 days, I obviously didn't have that avenue, right? So I'd start telling myself, right, almost reprogramming myself, like, you know what? Hey, I'm gonna wake up and I'm gonna have a great day today. And I listened to some positive affirmations and so forth, and anything to really help me in that manner too, because it is difficult. It sounds silly, right? Like just waking up and saying, "Hey, I'm gonna have a great day" is difficult, but it is if you never do it. If you always said, I don't know, whatever poor way you can think of waking up, right? Oh, I woke up on the wrong side of the bed today. Oh, my knee hurts, or whatever complaint, right? But that wasn't that way anymore, because like as you can experience joy, you can understand that it doesn't have to be just these fleeting moments, right? Like your interactions with everybody can be that way. It can all be pleasant. And yeah, don't get me wrong, you still have people in poor moods or come across those moments or whatever, but it's in your perception. It's in how you look at them, right? Like I had this codependency on my family to bring my joy, and then they weren't there, you know. So I started figuring out what I wanted to do or what I like doing. Like I started I don't know, twisting wire, and I made a copper light. We had an unfinished room in the front room, so I built it so they had a place to kind of homeschool and learn. I listened to music instead of watching TV while I was doing the copper light. I always had this idea that I didn't rest before bed if I didn't watch TV for a while. Right? Like I could not go to sleep if I didn't watch TV for a while. That's crazy. Why? Like at what point in your mind do you program yourself to just be like, hey, I need this, or this, or it's just not, it's not it. That's not the way to be. Like that's not, there's so much more to life than that. And that's what I started to develop over that time, right? Like, because I would hear from them, and it would always be a beautiful exchange. Ellie would tell me about all these beautiful things, and her experiences about being there, and we were always so excited to talk to each other because, of course, it's that time separated, and but I noticed when I talked to them, I didn't have much to say in response at first, right? Like I would just ask about you. And as great as that is, and that's usually how I am, right? Like I'm not much of a talker normally. I know that's crazy. Hear me now, but I normally just ask about other people. So now that I started doing stuff, I actually started having stories about how I started talking to people more because I was more positive, because I was looking in this every morning as, hey, I'm gonna have a great day today, and going to Dunkin' Donuts and talking to people, truly talking to them, staring at them in their eyes and having this conversation and seeing how they react to just how you respond, right? Because if you could sense someone's intention, you always know what they're trying to get across, even if the words don't come out right. Right? Because it's hard to always have the words come out right. So here we are, we're talking, and as time went on, I started having more to say. And then it's just carried that way through everything now, through every interaction in my life. And again, I know that's like that's one of those things you say. Well, every interaction, right? It's not that I don't have moments, right? Everyone has those moments. Uh, it's just that those moments are fleeting now. The ones where I do get hangry, as we say, right? Or or a grumpy dad comes out, right? Because it's more about the moments when you're playing cards together. Like Ellie just taught me this game, garbage or trash, or it's about the moments where you're just talking. Like we have such a draw to the electronics now, to technology, because it's this constant stimulation. And if you don't have this constant stimulation, you can't. That's not it. It's not. It's about human to human again. It's about seeing each other for who we are. Not as my kid, but as another human, right? Because I respect your opinion just as much as you respect mine. And I think if we can all learn to find that for ourselves, or start finding it for ourselves, right? Like start finding the joy in ourselves, where you end up together and you're spreading joy now. Like we'll go places and just start dancing at whatever background music and whatever store, and like you see people light up, right? And but that's not what it's about. It's really just us making each other happy. It's the spreading of the joy as well. That's the beautiful, beautiful, like what's the word I'm looking for? It's the beautiful thing that happens as the end result of just being joyous together. And I feel like if we could all come together and be more joyous together, then imagine what we could all do. Like it's about spreading the positivity. You know, stop putting the expectations on everybody else. You have these expectations from everybody else that, you know, hey, they have to call you on your birthday, or they have to oh shoot, I don't know, every expectation you can think of, right? Without just accepting them for who they are. Because you know, if they always have your best intentions at heart, then just because it didn't come across the right way doesn't mean that they don't love you. You know, like things happen. You know, cell phones die. Cars break down. I mean, everything you can think of where you can't get that interaction with people, but we're so used to it now that it's become the norm when it shouldn't be. Not the lack of interaction, but the expectations we put on everyone, rather than being in this moment. Being in this moment now, where you can see each other for who we are. It starts with focusing your energy on yourself. You know, it's beautiful that us as human beings, we always look to support other people, or we try to help people, right? But how can you help people if you can't help yourself first? How can you experience joy if you don't know what it is first? You know, I think I think this way we're living our life now is beautiful. You know, you lead with your heart rather than with your head all the time. Because you always know what's right and wrong. You know what feels right and what feels wrong. Right? It's that voice in your head, or it's that feeling in your heart, or that you just know something's right. You can call it many things. You know, everybody has a different word for it. But you know. It's more about trusting that again. And spreading the light. Spreading the positivity. Right? Well, as always, thank you for listening to me for a while. Eliana, thank you for joining me. And let's spread the light, people. Together we rise. It's all about leading each other home. And realizing that home's within us.